vann da, før jeg drar.
Very well. You walk down along the cliffs, and the walk that you take actually as you pass.
Så ser det som jeg trenger solbriller nå.
Other cove, and you pass the cove as well. Down along the cliffs towards Ashafen. As you come down the cove, you see in the distance through the mists there is a
Ja, det er ikke å vaske klærne I dag da, hvis du skal komme tilbake hit.
just off.
Men I morgen så skal vi ikke drive og støve så mye da, egentlig.
This is a single square sail ship. It's not a large one by any means.
Ikke før vi skal pigge I hvert fall, men det slisser hvis det skal da.
Traders and travelers and
Vi kan jo sjekke om de har noen slissemaskin. Jeg tenker han har lukket begge ved siden av veggen, og det jævlig dumt. Ja. Og da gikk jo ikke den planen min hvor...
But then you realize from a distance that if it's a bird, it's a really huge bird.
Vi kunne trekke kabel på baksiden for å åpne platen og så fall.
It would be a big bird.
Ja, det klarer jeg sikkert.
And the Ashafen is, there's several torches and a large bonfire lit in Ashafen, and you can see the cliffs of Ashafen kind of is nestled in around the cliffs, and there's the chapel of the Sacred Fire that it overlooks the town itself, and you can see the smoke rising from the chapel.
Smoke is in, like, from the chimney, or smoke is in the building?
Smoke from the dome. So, chapels of the Sacred Fire are all circular buildings with domes, and so the central dome usually has an opening from which smoke can rise up. And usually there's kind of like a decorative piece that opens up, and the smoke kind of pours out from all the sides.
Here's our friends who've already arrived. I guess the plan is working so far. If they're in the church, it's either some sort of odd religious ceremony or the silver.
The question is, do we approach them as ourselves, or do we let Wrath do his magic? Or Steve, I think was the other.
If we're going along
Ja, jeg rekker ikke det I dag. Over 40.
Maybe temporarily.
The disconnect between Amethyst Academy and the Silver Order prevents me from showing my true self, unlike you two. This alias, Stephen Hodges, may be our best bet to converse with them in a more formal way, without the falling out of colors becoming clouding the negotiation.
Is it important that if time is of the essence, because again, we don't know where the Duchess is or when she's coming, is it important that one of us goes to talk to the Silver Order while the other two set up and try to fortify and find a vantage point? I believe that was the original plan, but I'm willing to diverge if things seem more pressing.
Looking down from where you see, there's a fair bustle of activity in town. People are moving about. There's bonfires. If the Silver Order is in town, the town is so small that you won't even be able to walk into the city without them noticing. And an attempt to fortify, like, because with what you can see is that the cog ship is there, and there's people actually you see a very awkward sight of several people trying to load a horse onto a boat and boat it back towards towards shore.
My friends, I think we should
Skal vi bare
move
møtes
swiftly,
ved Monter?
although Voltar may have
Ja.
driven fear into us
Det kan
and do
det.
not believe Duchess is upon us. Although
Driver
that
du
time
med pussing
might be
på
narrow.
parkeringsplassen og
I
sånn?
think we should tell
Ikke
the
på Rema,
Silver
nei, men de har allerede
as
satt
far
inn
as we know
materiell og
about
sånt
this
der oppe
creature
tidligere.
and its intention for the town that lay before it, the people that were once inhabitants of it, and where the delirium may lay at the bottom of the sea.
Well, I would say maybe for layer rather than delirium. It might be one and the same, but I would say as much as we can leave delirium out of the conversation and warn of the danger of monsters, that might be a little bit more advantageous towards our goal of letting the Academy know that that's here.
Okay.
And definitely leaving the lighthouse out of it, for sure.
What lighthouse?
Exactly.
Raph, it's that building that we were just in.
Stop him. Stop him.
You know, you can see the lighthouse from Ash.
Just don't draw
There's no
attention to
lighthouse.
it. Just don't draw attention to it.
It's
When
an
we-
illusion. It's
We
delirium.
talked about maybe going to the cave and what we saw there rather than what we saw at the lighthouse. If they want to know how we know this information.
Yeah, like it's a fair trek. Like it's a few hours walk to get there from Ashafen. But the lighthouse is a huge building. It's visible from well over, like, probably you can see it from over a day's walk away.
Well, maybe I know that even as a lowly pirate, adventurer, sailor person, that, you know, we could not let this evil go unchallenged in Ashafen. Us three brave sailors turned mercenaries to turn the tide of good against evil.
Maybe adventurers, not mercenaries. That's negative. Negative. We're
Yeah,
gonna
negative connotation. Yeah.
Let's
Already.
adventurers. I was thinking town. It's like a big word. Do-gooders. Yes.
We're traveling do-gooders here to the company.
We're not dissuaded by our previous experience.
We saw fish people shedding human skin, and that was enough.
I mean, not a lie. Not a lie.
Not lying. We're not lying.
Remember, a man is only as good as his word. I plan to stick to it. So I'll see what I can do. But
Okay. So how would you like to head into town?
Openly.
Where? Do we see if there's
I'll
like
be
a
Steve.
bigger congregation of the Silver Order?
By the docks.
I say we
Yeah.
have docks right away.
But as you get close, there's a lot of activity at the docks, but it seems that up the cliff path at the chapel, there's a lot of activity there as well.
I would say docks just in case. Ambush these folks. And maybe we can take chapel after.
We must try to find the knight captain.
all right. Stephen, is it? Yes.
Stephen Hodges.
Stephen Hodges, you are going to leave the talking to you, so I don't have to lie too much.
Okay. So nestled in along the cliffs of Ash Bay, Ashafen is a miserable little fishing village that is constantly wet and constantly muddy. There's several waterlogged wooden docks and piers stretching out, forming and
Var under matpakken? Var
almost
under
all the other
matpakken?
boats in town are gone now. And as you wandered through the village before, you noticed that many of the buildings were in states of disrepair or disuse. You recall,
Ja,
you know,
det
the
blir mer Final
town
Fantasy 7 remake i kveld, nå, så at
partially abandoned.
minsten er lagt. Yep.
has his shack up
Må ha
against the
kaffe
base
på
of the
Circle K,
cliff.
ass.
You are in the haze as well. And so you come down the cliff and into
Kanskje kakaoen var ikke nok.
into-
Du trengte ordentlig koffein.
Ja.
You can roll me a d6.
Ses i morgen.
Mm.
6.
5. Okay. As you're
Ha det bra.
heading down,
Ja, ha det.
you immediately catch sight of a familiar person. For a group of Silver Order Knights, about
Let's go home.
there's 3 of them mounted up on horseback, and they are talking to a familiar-looking woman. She is a flaxen-haired knight captain Gloria Hackfield, who you met at the Emerald Inn all that while ago. And you hear her saying, she says, "I want you to ride inland, see where you find the edge of the haze. Then report back. We'll make our base camp there." And as you come in, she says, she has a very surprised look on her face. And she says, "Well, I'll be."
Gloria.
Hello, Gloria.
Well, flames burn me. Well, aren't you the folk that I feel like I met you somewhere before?
Twice.
Twice we
Old
met.
friends.
Once at the
Emerald Inn.
Emerald Inn, and then not too long ago.
In
The names.
You seem to get yourselves all into all kinds of trouble. You're okay. You don't look like you're sick or anything this time. What are you doing here?
As you know, we were quite contaminated when we left Ashafen the last time. That is when you last saw us. We were sick and we were deeply troubled by what we saw.
And we came here to investigate, and now you're here again.
We could not let it go unturned. We are do-gooders of the highest order, and we plan on ending the evil that is in Ashafen. We have information that might be helpful.
Really? Well, you should have said so sooner. Come on, let's chat. Let me bring you back. She turns to the knights that are going out. No, you stay. Go. No, go, not stay. Find the edge of the haze. Go. You 3. Well, come on with me. Let's talk about this. I gotta say, fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You seem like alright people. But what's going on, really? Tell me here. Because I gotta know. You've shown up now in a very auspicious way at a very auspicious time. So, what are you doing here?
When we were here and we were attacked, it was by the locals. Have you met any locals since you have arrived in Ashafen?
Yes, we have. We've got him secured now.
Him.
Well,
So-
there was one man, he seems addled, but he's alright. And there's a few who are not okay.
They may not be who you think they are.
Did they have more gills than we were expecting?
No, they had just as many as we were expecting. There's something evil here in Ash Bay, and I mean to get rid of it.
And that is why we are here, because we originally came following a series of clues that led us to this bay. Because we are trying to solve the problems down in Transmit that were occurring.
Yes, I have.
Well, as do-gooders, it's our job to investigate people going missing, things of that nature. This mystery has led us here, and there is something evil coming. We can agree to that. And we want to make sure that we can help you get rid of it. And if we are the ones who can tip the scales in your favor by adding our support, then I think all the better.
Well, hold on now. You're gonna have to catch me up a little bit here because you know something I don't.
Yes.
Because I've known people been going missing around here. And I've known that people been finding delirium washing up on the shores of Ash Bay. And there's some people that are not right anymore. People that have been changed by it. People that have been changed into, well, the water's taken them. That's all I can say. The deep, dark depths. That's somewhere where the flame cannot shine. You know what I mean? That's an evil place. It's a dark place.
Some information that perhaps we didn't tell you because we were still piecing it together. We were contacted by a being. Seems to be some sort of Duchess of the Fish People.
Duchess.
That's
Leader.
what it seems to call itself, or at least that's also what the minions refer to it as. Now, we may have encountered its offspring, and
Offspring.
we ended the offspring.
These people don't have their minds anymore.
No.
It's like they're under the spell of something else. Are you saying it's this Duchess creature?
What we've
Yes.
surmised seems to be that she's brought them into her horde and changed them somehow using delirium. And
Is this thing created the delirium? Is that where it came from? Did it bring it here?
that we don't know.
It has some kind of supply that it uses. We saw a rudimentary, smaller operation in Dransmond within the sewers where they were changing people into these fish folk, and it has only been amplified getting out here in Ash Bay.
I've known that this delirium can kill, but it does far worse things too to those who are really unlucky. Death is a blessing for some compared to what happens. And it's strange, I tell you, that so many folk we've encountered, they all have the same mutations, like they're turning into fish. Yeah?
Yeah.
We've been all too happy to lend them towards their deaths because there was no bringing them back. Or what
So
we would know.
you're saying this Duchess is controlling them?
It appears that way.
They do its bidding.
Where's it hiding? Where is it? Where is this lair?
It is close.
We have assumptions that it's somewhere in the water, which is why we can't go to fight it on its terms. But my hope is that by killing its offspring, dismantling the ritual, which is something that was going on, we encountered some sort of magical anomaly when we fought them, and that's when you first met us, or I guess second met us, when we were contaminated and injured. It was because of the fight that we encountered them in. Now, we killed enough of them that this Duchess should be riled up. What we're hoping.
Killed enough of them. Well, this village has been empty. Did you slaughter all the people in this village?
That's such
fun.
a
People?
loaded
I wouldn't
question.
call them people anymore.
We went
Monsters is what
fishing.
they were.
We went fishing for a while. Here.
This is a fishing
We-
village.
The flame teaches us that you offer mercy to the repentant. But what's happened to these people? They're far beyond the pale of what we can do. I talked with the Flamekeeper, Ophelia Reed. She's here, up the chapel. Whatever darkness has taken these folk, the only light that they might find again is in death. Hopefully, they'll be able to, their souls will be able to make it to the place where dawn breaks over the shadow. And they'll be fine. But I don't think that no one's ever heard of any way of reversing this or getting them back to the way they used to be. Once you are past a certain point, it's too late.
That was our assumption as well. And we did so out of self-defense. We were following the clues, and it led us into a horrible situation, and we fought our way out.
It's not a proud thing to do what you had to do. We're not proud of what we had to do. Folk in the Silver Order have had to do things. We know this. It's a stain on the conscience. But that's the price of being the one who carries the torch of justice and light. Is that sometimes your body and your soul is the one that's burned by it.
And all we can do is provide the best mercies for these folk and to hope that their souls find the light. But it's hard to tell if they're in there at all from what we've seen.
Now,
This blight, this plague, it will not end by killing those that are innocent or ignoring and waiting for this creature to amass its army again. We must destroy this evil where it lives. Although
we have no means of getting underwater.
we may not be able to reach it, but if we can bring it to us, we need your help.
Well, that's the biggest problem then, isn't it? Is we're gonna have to... This creature is... It's got delirium under the water. But one problem at a time. If we... Do you know where it is? How can we draw it out? Where can we... Listen, if you want to work with us, if you'll draw swords with us, we'll fight alongside you. If you know where this thing is, I'll muster up all my men now, and we'll go, and we'll take it on. We'll do it together.
I think that's best. I do have a pocket ballista. I hope that can be of service. Perhaps... Do we have any ideas on how to draw it out, though? I think that if we can try to prepare for a battle, it'll give us the upper hand, and...
We'll say that we have done enough damage to the Duchess's followers that she might be looking for, and a gesture to us, our crew, to get revenge for some reason. So we may not have to go to it. It might come to us. And if we can draw it out of its element, that might give us the best chance of getting rid of it.
So you're proposing using yourselves as bait for catching this big old fish?
Now to use some good bait to catch a big fish, so why not?
I do have a thought. If we are the bait, Knight Commander, how fast is your ship?
If the wind's blowing in its favor, it can get a good clip. But, we got some of our boys are part of the Illyrian Navy, so we got some good sailors on board, and we can bring it back to shore pretty quick, or take it further out. It all depends on what the wind says.
Well, if we account for the wind and it works in our favor, it's risky, but I would be willing to sail out with a group of Silver Order Knights. If the two of you would like to come with me, then by all means, but I do not want to put this on you. We sail out, we draw the Duchess out, and bring it back to Ashaf. Or we wait here and hope that the Duchess finds us herself.
Well, if we sail out, it will be looking for new recruits. It will send those that it needs. It will try to drag your men down to the depths. And if we can catch it, if we can stop it, we can end this blight in Ashhaven.
All right, well then, if that's what you're... You're the ones that came in here with this information. I don't know what to think, to be honest. But you seem like your hearts are in the right place. This is a big risk. But we're out here, and I'll be honest, we ain't got much of a lead better than that. So you just handed us a big break, saying that there's some creature that we can kill, a monster. Hey, that gives us a real objective. That gives us something we can actually fight. And if we can get rid of it, maybe that's a start. Maybe we can start cleaning up around here and actually do something better. Make sure that the people are safe. So, I say let's do it.
And of course, we understand we haven't been the most forthcoming since we met. But our hearts are in the right place. And of course, you have to make your decisions for your men and your safety. But I think if we can work together, both of us come together, there's going to be the best chance we have to take this monster down.
All right, let's do it. So you want us to, you think that this thing's got a grudge out on you for what you've done, and you want to use yourselves as bait. Is that the plan here?
I mean, if it doesn't have a grudge, there must be something that it...
If it doesn't have a grudge now, it will. We can...
Rule number 34. No one is above temptation. And I believe that we can tempt the Duchess out with revenge.
All right, then. Well, if you're going to be the bait, then what's the trap?
Well, Knight Captain, do you mind if we find lodgings while you continue to find your ground? I overheard you were looking for a place to camp outside of the haze. Is that true?
Yes, I've sent some of my knights out to see if we can find the edge of this where we can make a campsite, because we're not going to be able to rest here.
Well, we do know it's a few miles, and I point in the direction that we went, that we know it is.
It is quite a far way.
What is our trap, though? We lure the Duchess back, and then what?
I'm just gonna go get
We
some
have to come up
coffee.
with a plan.
I will see you
All
later.
right.
While you continue to bring in your resources, we will find lodgings and come back with a plan to lure this Duchess out. Knights old place.
You mean the old hermit? He's not in a good way. We've got him up with the chapel. Ophelia Reed's been talking to him. He's one of the few people that would actually talk to us.
He's one that he helped us when we were here.
Knight Commander, how many soldiers do you have here?
I've got a dozen knights with me, and another 24 men-at-arms and squires. We got a pair of Griffin Riders, myself and my knight lieutenant, and so all said about 30 folks.
Anybody skilled with archery?
Well, those of us that take to the sky were pretty good with a javelin, and we got pretty good shot from above, but not really our strong suit, I gotta say. We're much more of an up close and personal, if you understand my meaning.
Well, as long as you and your soldiers are willing to get wet, I suppose that will have to do.
We got spears and lances, though.
I do come with a bit of artillery, so I might position myself if there's a house or somewhere that I can set up for some heavy shots to be delivered. That might be part of the plan. The other one.
Let's survey the site now. Let me show you around town, and you see what you think you want to set up here. So I'll just show you this, and you guys can think about this. So this is the docks of Dransmond. Or not Dransmond, sorry, Ashhaven. So we'll just zoom out a little bit here so you can see the whole area. Right? So there's kind of the three main piers. And then it goes back, and then there's the town itself a little bit further up. So this is kind of what the main area of town looks like.
This building on the docks. What's like? How many stories is it? Does it have windows?
It is a miserable, rickety storage building that is leaning to one side, and is mostly used for basically as a shack for repairs and tools that are used to manage the boat. So it's basically your boathouse, right? It's a single-story building that's the whole thing. All these docks are partially sinking in the water, right? The tide does change that a little bit, but none of these things are in good shape. The boats that are left behind here take on water really fast, but they're serviceable, right? The shore continues out a little bit to either side beyond this, so there's a bit of a rocky shore as well on either side, and then there's the town center proper that I can show you as well if you want to bring things closer to the land. So the town center, basically, which is directly north of the previous map, is this. Right, so you can see again, many of the buildings are just in a horrible state of repair, right? And then and sorry, I kind of misspoke here, because north on the map, like up on these maps, would actually be east. So north would be to the left-hand side on our maps here, right? So this kind of shows you the lay of the area, and then north is where the cliffs go up. So there's a section of cliff that leads up to where the Chapel of the Sacred Fire is. There's kind of a switchback path that goes up along the cliff and takes you up there.
Well, last question, Knight Commander. Do you have any explosives?
We got some fire, yeah.
I'm trying to think of clever ways that we could turn this surrounding area into a more beneficial battleground for us. And I'm wondering if we can rig some of the boats with explosives and set them out into the bay so that if creatures emerge, might be able to.
We could set them on fire, but anything that we have, we wouldn't be able to time the explosion. We could pack them full of. We haven't brought much in the way of our explosives. This is the area. Basically, this map is if you wanted to pull things away from town, right? So it's a little bit brighter than the other ones, but yeah.
Rudy, you were in the military, correct?
Correct.
Planning an attack should be right up your alley. I won't lie. I have read about it. I've been in a few battles, but as for planning, I think I would lean on your better judgment of what you think the plan should be.
Well, I mean, I was a leader of a squad, but we were mainly a bit more stealthy, regardless of my abilities. We would go in a bit, so I'm used to a little bit more of a smaller squad to command. But what I'm thinking is that if we can somehow draw them in, I like your idea of some sort of fire or explosives to get their attention, get them on land, and potentially if we can get some ships to surround them, maybe charge them from both the water as well as the land.
So once they emerge, we send boats out to block their escape.
I mean, they could go under, but having fire from all sides could be something that's to our advantage.
Gloria Hackfield speaks up. You know, we don't have much in the way of crack shots, but we do have enough people that we do have bows and we do have arrows, and we could pack the boats full of whatever kindling we can, send them out, anchor them, and just light them up. They're not going to explode, but they are going to create a flame break.
Yeah. Create that barrier so that way if we draw them in, they have to come
At
to
least
us.
that way, if they try to, they're boxed in a little bit, and they're gonna have to swim out pretty far again, get underwater, and get attacked. That way we've at least got them trapped in place while we do what we gotta do.
Bring any nets with you?
There's nets here in town. There's fishing nets.
We drop some nets in the water once they're there, and potentially if anyone's got any oil, we could use that too.
So, I like this idea of lighting the boats on fire. Where should we position our troops, though? That's the next question. We light the boats on fire. We block their exit. We use nets to try to tangle them up. But we have 2 Griffin riders, a dozen soldiers, and the 3 of us. I have ballista at my disposal. Math has magic. Rudy, you're a cunning commander, so.
Well, if you want my honest opinion, I think if it were me on the other way around, if I was some beastie that was out to kill you 3, and I saw a pair of Griffin riders and 2 dozen other armored soldiers, I wouldn't even bother. I'd just wait. So I think the best place for all us is in these buildings, well out of sight. Because I think not to give you any bad news, but I think your best bet in luring this thing out is that if it doesn't know we're here.
I agree.
Agreed. Bait won't work if you can see the hook, so let's make sure that the bait is visible when the hook comes out once they take it back.
All right. So if we bring them in, reel it in, set a light to those boats, and then at that point we'll charge in and try to hold off whoever we can. Do we know that this thing isn't going to come with a bunch of friends?
It might, but that's why we have numbers. Now, I thought of another idea. There's a lot of rope here. A lot of rope. And if I build my ballista, perhaps in the boathouse, pointing... Is there a window in the boathouse, I should ask?
Oh, so you want to make like a netted pillbox that's camouflaged
Well-
with the net? And yes, if you want to conceal your position in the boathouse with the ballista, with the window, you could totally knock out the window and do that.
Cool. I'm thinking that, but then also if we get ropes tied to the ballista bolt and the other end tied, I know that the dock seems pretty rough, but if we can find the sturdiest place to tie off the other end of the rope, if I can hit the Duchess with a ballista bolt attached to a rope, it anchors the Duchess in
So you want to harpoon the Duchess and reel it in to shore to kill it.
That would be the ideal goal.
I think if we're doing it by the docks, if I'm out as far as I can go on the docks, maybe on land, see if that works. If not, I am willing to take out a boat if I need to, because I can row pretty fast.
You say you got a ballista?
Yes, and I hold up my crossbow and a little pack that I have with me. Yes.
Well, that's a fancy contraption if I ever saw one.
I agree. I'm excited to use it.
With a bit of work, we have a ballista on the cog as well. We have one. We could probably fit them with some good rope and some chain and some harpoons and set up both. And if we harpoon this thing with two and set enough people together to haul it in, we might be able to bring it on shore.
This is starting to sound like a plan.
Stephen, what do you think?
In Rudy's mind, I want to say, do we tell her about the cave? There may be something in there that will help lure this creature to us, but it also may reveal the position of, well, there's a Hydra in there, but also the beginnings of the Elven Runes.
I can't say anything back, can I?
No.
Steven, Rudy just asked you a question. You're just standing there.
I say into Will.
And I kind of go like this, like across my throat, like, what do you think? And then I'm like, no.
Knight Captain, this seems like a great ambush place. If we can hide and attack, as Wilhelm and Rudy have said, although I am concerned that our bait still does not exist.
Steven. Sorry, it's a nickname I gave him because he gets angry a lot.
It gets angry.
I got a rash. He said rash. I got a bad neck rash from the delirium.
Right. Old rash, Steven. Listen, I think I have a job for you.
I'm hesitantly listening.
You're going to stand on the end of the dock. You are going to yell a lot.
That's great.
I'll be there to support you, though.
Appreciate that, Rudy. The reason is that this creature has always sent its lackeys, its underlings, to do its bidding. We need something enticing to make it come from its lair. What do we offer to it other than our lives?
Well, it wants delirium. Is there any delirium?
Hey, Captain, do you have any sources of this crystal, this power?
No, we've been destroying everything that we find.
Have you ever lured creatures of this, like this before?
You're the ones that say it wants to kill you. You're just gonna have to go rile it up. I mean, if it's out in the water, we could take you out on the boat, on the cog, and sail it back into shore with you behind it. I mean,
dragging in the water, like putting our scent in the in the water. Come get us.
So,
like, what does this thing do? Like, can this thing? We don't know what it's capable of. Like, we only know, for all we know, it could be planning to come back here and attack us at any minute.
then I think if I put all this together, we're going to set up multiple ballistas with harpoons. We are going to hide the Silver Order Knights in the various houses. Stephen, Rudy, and myself will sail out to lure the Duchess here. We're going to rig several boats with kindling, which once we get back to the docks, we will set ablaze and throw them out into the water to block the escape and create a firewall. Once that is done and we are back on the docks safely, we spring the trap, we fire the harpoons, we unleash the knights, and we kill the Duchess. Does that sound like I have it straight?
What does this create? So, I assume that you've shared a description of like what you think the Duchess looks like.
We've only seen it kind of in a watery form, so
Kind of like a nightmare, like a waking nightmare.
yes.
It sounds horrible. What if it sends its? What do we do if it sends its minions first?
Wednesday, Thursday, tomorrow, and Friday.
Do you want us to hold our position, or do
Yes.
you want to handle them themselves?
I think
You should stay hidden.
if we have,
Right.
if we are overwhelmed, of course we'll need their help. That was the idea behind having the connection and numbers.
Tired of winter, I hope March.
But
will
I would say let's
bring
have a
some
code word,
more
let's have a
plus
word
degrees.
or some sort of signal that we can put up that brings y'all out. That we can
Alright.
say.
Like we can change the flag on the ship, or
Or I can fire up a firebolt in the air.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So, what? The only thing I think is that that we should probably have our team hiding in the boathouse with the other ballista, and it should be your ballista out in the open if you're gonna fire it. Right? You're gonna be the one to shoot that.
Now,
Right.
it takes me a little bit to build the ballista, right?
Yeah.
So technically, I'm going to have to leave my crossbow behind when we go out on the water.
Or you can take it with you.
The ballista's more worthwhile being a harpoon, I think, in this instance.
Do you have a backup crossbow?
I do. I have a regular crossbow.
The regular, yeah, your everyday
Yeah.
secret.
So where do you want to set up yours? Because if the Silver Order sets theirs up in the boathouse with several of their warriors,
You know,
right?
if we have, so we have, they have one ballista, or is this both of theirs?
They have one,
Okay.
and you have the other. So I'm using these to represent the ballistas.
Mhm.
How does the end of this dock look? Dilapidated and horrible?
As pictured.
It is as pictured, but it's still stable. Like, it's usable. It just could be easily damaged. It's not going to collapse by someone walking on it. It's just not strong.
Maybe I won't set it out. Maybe just like almost where you had it, like right here.
Okay.
Now, I
The rope you could tie off to like a
this
tree or
road,
something.
or
too.
should
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
take
tie
the
like the rope off to like the tree back here. Make sure that I have a
scenic
long.
route?
Like I'm gonna find a bunch of ropes. I'm gonna sailors tie them together.
and the Griffin Riders. I mean, if we think about the boats being set on fire, could the Griffin Riders light them as soon as we get the boats out there on fire?
Gloria, because I'm one of the Griffin Riders.
Well, it's not that much of a queue,
Gloria.
So
Ready to set
I
the
guess I
boats
can just
aflame?
stick to this road.
we will be the ones that do that. We'll do that, and then when you give the signal by shooting a firebolt straight upwards, that'll be the sign for the rest of the. So when you fire your firebolt straight up, that will be the signal for us to light the boats on fire and the rest of the knights to attack. Well, with all that in place, I think this is a good moment for us to take our break. And we are back from our break. Let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. Alrighty. So, to summarize, in the dingy, watery waste of Ashafin, you and the Silver Order have now concocted a plan to draw the Duchess out into a trap. In summary, to make sure that I understand correctly, this is your plan. The Silver Order is going to hide in the homes and buildings that are just off the edge of the water. Okay? So as we can see here, this is the assembled force of the Silver Order that is here. Okay? Basically, there's 6 knights with their individual soldiers at arms. And so they will, one group will man the ballista here, and then the others will each hide out in individual buildings. Knight Commander Gloria Hackfield introduces you to Flamekeeper Tess. She is a young, freckled and frizzy-haired Flamekeeper who offers to cast a few spells on you all to help you out. She will cast Aid using a 3rd level spell slot on you all, so that'll give you each raise your hit point maximals by 10. And because of the Silver Order's organization and blessings, you are all going to be affected by the Bless spell for the duration. There's enough of the knights that you'll be able to be blessed, and so you'll have a D4 added to your attack rolls and saving throws.
Woo!
Nice.
So it's bless and aid, right?
Yeah. And so, Gloria Hackfield and her Sir Andrews, who is the other Sky Cavalier, the 2 of them are going to go up to the cliffs, and they will swoop down when they get the signal.
Yes.
And Flamekeeper Tess herself, she has healing spells ready. So she will be camping out in this building here if there is an emergency as well. So those are the positions that the Silver Order will take up. So Gloria Hackfield kind of commands them all around, and then she's going to mount up on her griffin and get into position herself. The only other question is, are you going to take the cog, the larger boat, or a smaller boat to lure the Duchess out?
I say we go fast.
Yeah, which boat is the fastest? Is the bigger boat?
The cog, okay, the cog will depend on the wind. And so, what I will have you all do is roll me a d6. Okay. The wind is currently not ideal. It is blowing, the way that the wind is blowing is rather than away from shore or toward shore, it's kind of going like in a generally southeastern direction. Now, a skilled sailor can still sail into the wind and catch the wind. So the boat is not going to like clip back, but it's not impossible. It's just not ideal.
Is there strong wind? Like, what are the waves like?
The wind is strong as you go further out to the shore. So, but it's just not in the best direction.
So it sounds like we might be rowing. Rudy, are you
With the cog ship, you don't row a cog.
Yeah, but if the
It's-
wind's
it-
not in our favor, then we'll.
I was
have to
thinking
take
too, it
smaller
might be
boats.
too big for us. Like, it seems like the cog ship might require more hands to operate.
Yes, they would send you with their crew to crew it. Yeah.
Whereas
So-
if we took a smaller ship, even though it puts us at more risk, at least it's just the three of us.
Yeah.
This
Like
is
there's
gonna
a
be
there's a smaller like cav ship, a smaller sailing ship that is in serviceable condition that you can take out, and fly and get it out and yeah, you know, it's going to move at a reasonable enough speed, but it's not going to be super fast.
Well, are the two of you ready for what we're about to do?
I'm gonna cast water breathing on us. I think that's important. And on I can choose up to 10. So the three of us, and I think plus the Knight Captain, the Flame Keeper, and I guess, you know, whoever seemed to be close to us when we were sort of I'm thinking more of like the yeah, like the strike team that's in the first ballista, just in case they get pulled into the water.
Rudy, we're putting a lot of faith in your strength here, but luckily I have a lot of faith in your strength. And Wrath, I expect you to be cunning and don't stop attacking when you get the chance to.
I have a
Thank-
question. Are they going to be surprised that you are casting spells?
We will probably have to cross that bridge when it happens.
All right.
From this point on, all further questions that the Silver Order might have for us, we're going to deal with those afterwards. For the time being, getting rid of the Duchess is our primary mission, and we are going to do our best. I will say to you two that this is going to be dangerous, and if this is the end, then I want you to know that this has been a glorious adventure
Well,
to be on.
not too far
And
away from home
Rule
now.
number 61, trust
So-
those who fight with you, lead with you, and are prepared
I'm
to
gonna
die.
play more Final Fantasy VII Remake tonight.
I am willing to fight alongside
After
you. It's been an
I
honor.
put my daughter to bed
I agree. I wouldn't be one
and
of
done the homework.
you boys,
her.
and if something happens, get yourself to shore, and I'll distract them. All right, just make sure you get yourself to safety. The mama bear will protect.
Rudy?
Yeah, I don't
And,
think homework is a
I haven't
stupid
yet.
idea.
you both need to know that I won't let Bruce eat either of your corpses,
Oh, that's sweet.
and that's a lot.
I mean, when we started this journey, you probably would have. So that's
I probably don't have that kind of control of it, but I'm gonna put in a good word against it.
Thank you. You're a
I think
true person that you've been traveling with.
Okay. So you take out this small little sailing ship. It's enough for the three of you to manage it, and you sail out into the water. With a sign off, Gloria Hackfield gives the orders to everyone to mass out and prepare for engagement. With a final word that she says, "Look it. I'm no fisher, but I do know that sometimes you go out there and you get nothing. If we don't see you back in how long? What are we gonna say?
Give us an hour.
All right.
We will check back in within the hour, and we will reconvene.
Yeah, because
Alright.
how long would it take us to sail to the lighthouse, for example?
At least an hour.
Okay, so about halfway there is like
Yeah.
the middle of the. Okay.
So we get pretty far out in that
30
time.
minutes there, 30 minutes back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll probably go
Yeah.
double time, hopefully back. It's
Is
just
that
rowing.
the direction that you want to sail? Like as if you're heading towards the lighthouse?
I think more off towards wherever the sort of concentrated.
Follow our nose, where the haze is thicker, where
Okay.
our nightmares become stronger.
All right. As you head out, you can all roll a d6.
Arg.
Oh,
3.
2.
1.
After you give your death speech.
Yep. That's how I roll. That is how I roll. Literally.
Literally.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What's the worst that could?
21 minutes out from shore. Sailing up for 20 minutes, just because the shore of Ashafin kind of fades into the distance. It starts to rain. And there's a low rumbling in the afternoon sky, and the sky gets dark. There's a low rumbling in the clouds overhead. And it's not... And as the clouds break, you start to see several large fins
Alle skal til
breaking
venstre
out
linje.
pools of water. Just some in the distance. You can all roll a perception check.
21.
23.
9.
So Rudy and Wilhelm, you see these. The larger fish folk warriors, the Mara. There's 5 of them that you spot at least. They're keeping their distance several hundred feet away, but they're watching you and they're following
Are you ready, boys?
I stand on the edge of the boat and do like the Captain Morgan thing where I stand like 1 foot up on the edge and using thaumaturgy, my voice booms into the great wide open sea. Duchess, you are looking for us. We are here. We call you out.
There is a voice that comes back into your mind and it cries out, "Be careful what you conjure, small-minded caller." And it resounds in your head, beating. You shall menace me no more. It speaks back into your mind. Your cat knows no true secrets. Call to me, warlock. Serve me, and I will show you.
Well, I'm gonna turn off the stream now, so see you later or tomorrow morning. Later I'm gonna play, as I said, and tomorrow we will drive to work again. Work.